Okay, now before we get started, just a moment of silence for the default cube. I'm about to delete his ass in the f***ing history. Yeah, that's me, man. Every time. Just autofocus. Okay, there we go. Hey guys, this is Deus Ex VFX, and today I'm gonna... What's this? What are we doing with this? Hey guys, this is Deus Ex VFX, and today I'm going to be teaching you about product visualization in Blender 3D. That could have been better. Hey guys, this is Deus Ex... Hey guys, this is Deus Ex VFX, and today I'm going to be teaching about product visualization in Blender 3D. Yeah, that's me, man. I'm sorry if I look like crap. I kind of just woke up. I don't want to say what time it is because I cannot say without crying. Oh, and before we can... And before we continue, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that silly little notification bell.
Hey, I don't stay in projects anymore. I'm not a project baby anymore. I'm a suburbs kid. I'm a suburban.
I'm leaving that in. About a month ago, I made like a little product visualization video. Not really sure what I was going to use it for. Maybe send it to a company and be like, hey, let me work for you. Let me show you what I can do. It's cool. I swear. Please hire me. I need the money so bad. I need it so bad. So yeah, I'll just show you the video I made, and then I'll kind of show you some lighting techniques. That's basically what I'm going to be going over. It's the environment and the lighting techniques. So here, yeah, very dramatic. Goes in focus. Light changes. Bottle rotates. Cool. Boom. Dramatic. Music would have probably helped, but you know. Yeah, out of focus. Slow zoom in. Boom. In focus. Light turns on. Dramatic as hell. Looks beautiful. And then yeah. And then it goes in focus only on that. That's sick. Fuck, man. Fuck, that's sick, bro. Shit. So yeah, I'm going to take that model again that I have. I use Blender Kit. That's where I get a lot of my 3D models from. And then that's where I got this model from. I'm like 90% sure. And I'll just show you just some different techniques when it comes to, you know, backdrop, lighting, maybe some camera techniques. Just show you some stuff like that. Okay, now before we get started, just a moment of silence for the default cube. I'm about to delete his ass in the fucking history. Okay, and I'm gonna also get rid of the light. You probably can't see what I'm doing in the top right, but I am getting rid of the light in the scene. Different product visualizations kind of have different vibes and themes. So for a cologne commercial, it won't look the same as a soap commercial, you know? So I'm gonna show you just different things in line with the cologne. Am I making sense? I fucking hope so. There it is. It's very small. But it's not the size, it's what you do with it, okay? Okay? Please tell me it's okay. I can't keep going on like this. I need to know it's okay. Yeah, so now I'm just gonna raise that up a bit. Wish I could do that. And now I'm going to add a backdrop. What was that about? That was weird. So basically I just held Shift A to, that's like the keyboard shortcut to add things. Go to mesh, go to plane, that's the plane. And I'm gonna click S to size it up. There. Now I'm gonna go in edit mode. I go into edit mode by clicking tab, or you can just go over here to object mode at the top left, then click edit mode. And now I'm gonna click on this, the edge selector, click on the edge selector, so you can edge. I'm full of jokes today, aren't I? I should stop. Alright, and so I just clicked E to extrude, and then I clicked Z or Z, E, Z. Easy. Because so now I'm gonna get out of edit mode. And actually, you know what? Let me just set up my camera real quick. Let me just do that. Let me just set up my camera. I'm also gonna work in cycles because that looks way better, and I use experimental because it goes faster, and I use GPU for the same reason. Okay, so now what I do is, if I want to move the camera, I do a thing called, what's the thing called? Okay, yeah, I do walk navigation. And the reason I do that is just because I have more control over the camera. Yeah, I'll just worry about composition right now. Getting the frame set up. Something that like looks nice, kind of like dramatic. Yeah, so no light, no nothing. Fuck, this is going everywhere. Okay, actually, before we do light, let me just bevel this out. So I'm going to use, you click on the plane that we made and we extruded, and then I'm going to go to modifiers, bevel. And what this is going to do is going to kind of make it look like a sheet backdrop, kind of make it look nice. And I'm going to make it bigger, and then boop, 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 boop. And then shade smooth, and maybe a little more. Boop, boop, boop. Here. That looks nice. Nice. Nice! Now, time to add some light. Shift A, light. I'm gonna do an area light. And let's see. There's gonna be a bunch of different angles that we're gonna be working from. We're gonna be doing some like side angles with the light, behind it. We're just gonna be seeing, every product is different. Every single product might have a better light setup depending on, you know, its materials, what it's made out of, certain things that just make it look good. And so what we're working with is we're working with something that's made out of glass. And so we're gonna try and find the right angle so that we're not obscuring any of the text, and that it's just, to make it look nice. So, and since I already did this, but that was like a month ago, so I honestly don't really remember what I did. So we're gonna be figuring this out together, but I'll edit it so you don't have to figure out the entire process, but I'll just be explaining it back to you. So let's see what it looks like in the camera right now. Okay, that doesn't look too bad, but we want this way stronger. And another thing that we want is we want to click on this little thing, world properties, and color. We're going to turn this down to black. It's just more moody that way. We're dramatic. That's what we are. We're very dramatic. That is something that people have described me as. All right. And I kind of like how this looks. Honestly, I might change it later, but you know, as long as yours kind of looks like this right now, just, you know, we're just getting started a bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click Shift D, and that's going to duplicate it while being clicked on the light. And I'm just going to move it over here. See what happens if I do this. I might actually light up the background too. Let's see what that looks like. Honestly, it's kind of just personal preference, because I could see two different types of people wanting two different things, and if they like the way that this looks, then, you know, I like that too. But if they like the way this looks, honestly, either or. That's why we have the backdrop, you know, made the way it is, so that you can kind of have that freedom. I think I do like this though, so I'm gonna just keep it. What I will do is I'm gonna turn the power down on this light. It's a little bit too strong. Just enough so that you can see it is a background. And now the text is not visible, so what do? We will add another light. It looks good, but there's a couple issues. It's obscuring the A in Sauvage and the O and the R. We don't want that, so I'm just gonna keep moving around the light, see what looks good. Actually, I'm gonna try getting rid of the background again. Let me see what that looks like. I'm gonna try Spotlight. I'm gonna see what that does.
All right, no auto-tune versus auto-tune. Spotlight.
All right, I like that. The text is legible, which is probably the most important part. And the lighting is dramatic, and even actually when I added that spotlight, I feel like that actually added kind of a little bit more realism. So let's see. What's going on in our scene? So if I go to solid mode, so I have one light hitting it from the right side, this one, and that one's at 293.4 watts, and then this one hitting it from the left side, same thing. And then I have one hitting it from the front upwards, which is the spotlight, which is much stronger, so I can get that nice, that little ring around that. And yeah, eventually I voted, it's more like dictatorship, but I decided against having the light on that back wall because I think it just makes it look a little bit more moodier, a little bit more dramatic if it's not there. I mean, now I'm starting to like it. I don't know. Honestly, it's kind of up to preference. And so now I'm going to show you something to do with the camera. So when people are in real life recording product visualization videos, it's usually a smaller product. And so they have to get really close to make the image. What was that? So they have to get the camera really close to make the image crisp. And what that does is when you're focusing that close on something that small, it makes everything else very blurry. So it's very easy for things to kind of in the background get lost in focus. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to turn the aperture down and we're going to make it so that the camera is perfectly focused on this. So what I can do is I can do a quick little animation. So I'm just going to bring the timeline up a little bit and I'm going to animate. First thing we do first is I'm going to get it set into position I want. I'll make it animate from this side to this side. So I'll do something like that. Just for a little clarification, I never actually explained what this is. This is called an empty, and this is actually what moves my object. Or this is what I have to click in order to move the object. So basically, instead of clicking each thing individually, what the person who made the model did was they clicked each thing individually, and then they added a thing called an empty, and which is this, and then they just did this, and then they clicked on the empty, and then they right-clicked and they clicked parent to object. So then in order to move several objects, all you have to do is just move the thing that it is attached to. See how that looks? And I'm just gonna click I and location rotation. So what that just did is I just set a keyframe so that the location and the rotation is kind of like memorized. So if I do anything else, like if I add another keyframe, it'll remember this is where that location was. And then when I move something later on, like if I click play, and then maybe I'll just go to like 120. I think 120 would be good. And now I'm going to use the blue cursor or the blue rotation on the rotation thing. And move it like that. Cool. And I'm going to click I and location and rotation. So now I have an animation. Doesn't look very good. How do we make it better? Well, first thing you can do is you can select both of your keyframes, then you right click, then you go to interpolation mode and you click linear. That way there is no smooth in, smooth out of the animation, it just does it all at the same speed. And actually I'm also going to turn denoising on in the viewport. There. And now what I could do is I could just move the camera forward, just add some like dramatization. So I just selected the camera and now I'm gonna click I, location and rotation. Now I'm gonna move back up to 120 frames. And I click Shift F to do the walk navigation, but you might have to go back to view, navigation, walk navigation. I think that's what it is, view, navigation. Yeah. So that's what I do. So now I'm just gonna move forward a bit. Something like that. Oh yeah, and then now that I just did that, I click I again, location, rotation, there. And same thing is you select both keyframes, right click, interpolation, linear. Now, let's see. I might turn that backlight off again. Yeah, I am. It just looks better. I'm so sorry. Now, I think that moves a little bit too quickly. So what I'm gonna do is actually, I'm gonna move this up to 160. Both things up to 160. So now I'm gonna click on this, which I used to rotate the object. Now it's at 160. Now let's see what that looks like. A little bit smoother. It's just kind of a slow animation. It's not the money shot, but it's just kind of meant to show you what you can do with product visualization. Just different techniques, camera movements, and now I'm going to show you the depth of field. So I'm going to click on my camera, and I'm going to go to Object Data Properties, click Depth of Field, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in as much as I can on the S and the A and the U. And I'm just going to play around with the distance until that is crisp. There. And another thing that we can do is we can turn the aperture down. Not too much, maybe like 0.8. Really just, it depends on the product, but for me, I'm going to use 0.8, and that's going to make everything else blurrier. But all that matters is that the S and the A and the U and just these words are in focus. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this and insert a keyframe for the distance of the depth of field. And that way, so when we move to the next keyframe, which is for me at 160 frames, see how it's out of focus? Now we gotta fix that. Just adjust the distance until it is in focus again. And now insert keyframe. I'm also going to make sure that it is not a Bezier curve, but that it is linear. It's Bezier. So I have to fix that. Interpolation, linear. Boom. Now a little trick, because sometimes it's like when you can see everything else in the background and on the sides, it kind of like makes it harder for you to actually visualize what it's going to look like when it's rendered, because you can still see everything around the frame. So something I like to do is I like to go to viewport display, and then this thing is called Perspective, and then I'm just going to turn that all the way up. There. Now let's see what it looks like. There, I think that looks good, kind of nice, kind of chill, just like it's moody, very apt for a cologne commercial. And one more thing that you can do if you want to be really fancy, which I did in the original video that I sent you, I haven't sent you shit. The original video that I showed you was I actually animated the light moving around the model. So here's what we can do. It just kind of adds a little extra flair. So I'm going to click just a random light that I already have set up. I'm going to do Shift D, and I'm going to point it at the product. Let's see, how does that look? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it, add a keyframe, location, and rotation. And now I'm going to move all the way up to 160, which is the last frame. I'm going to move it, and I'm going to rotate the light so that it is back to facing at the product. And now I'm going to set another keyframe for location rotation. And let's make sure that's all linear. Perfect. Now let's see how that looks. Maybe it just adds a little something. It is too dim to notice. I'm going to move it closer. And I have to redo the keyframe, frame 1, that's where it's going to go. And then second keyframe, move it closer, click I for insert keyframe, and then location rotation. There, let's see how that looks now. Oh wait, did I? Let me just make sure I did it. Okay. There, now you can see the light moving in the background, or you can actually see it on the reflection of it. It's just, you know, you can make it look better. I'm just showing you the different possibilities of what you can do. Yeah, so the way I did it looks bad. It looks very bad, and I hate it, and I never want to see anything like it again. So I'm going to turn it off. You can do it way better, I bet. I'm just showing you what you can do, you know? And now I'm going to render the shot, and we can see how it looks when it's fully rendered. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay. Okay, and now that the render's finished, now let's take a look at the final product. So I think that looks really great, but what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try and tweak the coloring a little bit. I'm going to add an adjustment clip. I use DaVinci Resolve for my editing. And now let's go into color, see what we can do. And now here's the final product. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll leave you alone forever now.